XRP versus Bitcoin. We're going to talk about it. Look at Bitcoin right now, though. It is taking a dump. What does it mean? But look at this. Before I talk about that, look at XRP versus Bitcoin. So XRP versus Bitcoin is pumping off the low. It's up about 8%. You could see Bitcoin, right, is dumping. That's pretty rare. Not normal, but it's okay. We're going to talk about it. And you can see XRP is looking quite interesting at the moment. So let's talk about XRP versus Bitcoin and what we've been talking about. So check this out. It looks like to me that it just created the spring phase and now we are getting that reaction. This is the beginning of potentially what's to come, right? Not financial advice. Anything could totally happen, but we've been watching this Wyckoff accumulation structure. Was looking for it to round up here, but at the end of the day, we needed more of that spring. So we can see right here, we have a three-wave move to the upside, right? Same thing here. We come back down and we take out the low, right? We come back down and we take out the low. We then pump back to the upside, without taking out that high. Same thing here, without taking out that high. Then we come all the way down in this spring. It's long, windy road all the way down, right? Same thing here. But then look what happens here. When you get to the bottom, you have support, right? Wrong. What do the market makers do? They push it below support. They push it below this low and they push it below this low. Why? Because that's where people have their stops. And what does that do? It triggers the stop. And what does that do? There's an influx of liquidity. And what does that do? It allows these big fat whales to fill their bags that, some people, unfortunately gave up, right? Because, they thought, okay, we're going down, right? We're going to short it. But this was just a trap. And I've been talking about this for a while. Now, it could still turn around and keep going down. But looking at it, it looks like a beautiful Wyckoff structure in here, just the same as this, right? So, and yesterday I pointed out, I said, when we were back down somewhere in here, by the way, yesterday's XRP video, if you want to go check it out, and this, and by the way, this, when we were down here, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. When we were down here, what happened? What happened yesterday? CEO Brad Garlinghouse comes out with his $5 trillion market cap prediction. And you go, yeah, whatever, that's just another prediction. No, it means something, right? He believes that they won the lawsuit. Otherwise, why the hell would you say that? Why would you put your reputation on the line? Why would you? Because 2025, is coming up very quick, right? We're in April. It'll be Christmas before you know it. Time flies. And they'll be looking back on this saying, Brad Garlinghouse, you were totally wrong. Why did you say that? I don't think he's wrong. I think he's going to be proven correct. And I think he knows something we don't. And I think that means we won the lawsuit. Maybe we didn't win. But regardless of that is, do we get a settlement? Does the thing end? That's the important thing. And I just find it funny that he said it right here as we were breaking below support. Like that was the magical thing that said, nope, we're going back up. It's just hilarious that the timing of it, right? And then what's even more kind of funny is Brad Garlinghouse's excuse as to why the market will get so high, right? He talks about the Bitcoin ETF, talks about the regulations. He's talking about the halvening event, right? So it's, all about Bitcoin. And what do we see here? This is XRP versus Bitcoin. So I don't know, it's just a little interesting to me that it happened right here. Like, why didn't it happen here or over here? Why at the very bottom of the spring? I just think it's too much of an interesting coincidence. And a lot of times things happen like that, right? Where, for example, Bitcoin topped the day that Coinbase IPO'd. Like, how is that statistic? What are the statistical probabilities of that happening? Right? It's very interesting. So, anyway, that's just funny talk. But now let's talk serious. We have this beautiful spring, right? We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 down, right? We have 5 up, and then we have 1, 2, 3 down, right? So, and it, or basically an ABC. So you have A, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all this is 5, right? Bullish divergence. Remember, I talked about XRP versus Bitcoin, talking about the massive bullish divergences that was creating from this low to this low. So I'll bring that up momentarily, but we can see now this is beginning to start impulsing. Now it's not going to happen in a straight line. You're going to get big pullbacks. But the point is, so now let's talk about the future, the goal here. I hate this little thunderbolt. I always have to get rid of it. So the future, right? We have this wave to the upside, right? Maybe, I mean, just pay attention right there. So what happens right there? Maybe you get a little pullback. What would be nice is you get a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And then you get, 3, 4, 5, maybe 4, 5. And then you play around in here a little bit, just like how you play around right there. And then bam, that's when you start to shoot up. And maybe that takes till the end of the month, right? Maybe that takes a little longer, maybe shorter. Timing's always difficult. But if you're using symmetry, right, based off the length of this wave, tells me that the length of this wave should be, about there, right? So kind of like how you're, just eyeballing it, right? So yeah, that's an interesting piece of development here, is that big pump. And what's more interesting is that big pump didn't happen on an XRP USD pump, right? It happened because Bitcoin fell and XRP did not. XRP did fall a little bit, right? But look at it. It's actually looking very quite bullish, right? So when you zoom out a little bit, you can see we did have a pretty nasty correction on the 5-minute chart. Remember, time frames are important when using words like a crash or a dump. Yeah, we on the 5-minute chart. But when you zoom out a little bit, let's go to the 2-hour chart. You're wicking off here. You're holding up pretty strong, relatively speaking, still at the highs of where it is, right? When you go to Bitcoin, the highs are up here, right? But Bitcoin fell all the way down here. So XRP still chilling up here, Bitcoin's down here. That's the reason why XRP versus Bitcoin is starting to pump to the upside. So what does that mean? Well, that could mean that obviously I think Bitcoin's a little oversold. I think at the very minimum we need a pullback. But talking about Bitcoin really quick, I did put out a video today about Bitcoin. But I recorded that video yesterday. So the updated idea is still pretty much the same, right? This could turn into something like this, right? Kind of like maybe a diagonal or something. Something that takes out the top, then you come down. Unless, of course, this is an A, B, C, D, and now we're getting E, a triangle, right? This could be a triangle. So the video did come out yesterday, but yesterday we were up here, right? So, and one of the things I talked about was saying, well, look at the trend line. I said a lot of retail is looking at this saying, yay, we broke out. But, watch the video and I said, it's probably a fake out. If in fact it's some type of triangle pattern. Now, it is a pretty steep pullback here. We did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we get A, B, C, continue going. But I don't know, it seems awfully corrective. And we still have, this dark cloud, right, that's hanging over us, or actually below us, I should say, because the bull market support band has yet to be tested. So, that's my only concern. If we're gonna pump to the upside, then I'm looking at this as the end of the fifth wave. So, you had one, two, let me see here. So you have one, two, all of this is three. This triangle is four, then you get five, right? Then you get the big, big, big correction. So everybody's thinking about this being the big correction. No, that's just a wave four of, of a wave three, right? So if we get wave five, then you get the big, 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 long dreaded correction. And that's probably, goes through the summer. That's usually what happens in summer. And then by the end of the year, September, October, especially November, December, you get that bigger pump. Now, I'm not speaking in the terms of right now, but when you look at the chart, to me, we have two options. We come up here, finish wave five, then we go down into an ABC, then continue higher, right, for that wave five. So right here, look, watch this. So we have one, two, all of this is three. So the question I have, is three done, or do we come up one more time for wave three, then we pull back for wave four, then we go up for wave five? So those are the two options. Either wave three isn't done and we still have another pump to go, or wave three is done and now we're in wave four. And if that's the case, then we definitely need to test the bull market support band, most likely, right? So, we can come up, and then tag it, or we can tag it now. If we come up, wave three isn't done, right? If we come down, wave three probably is done, and now we're setting our sights for wave five. Well, this one will go into wave five. So it doesn't really matter. It's just the route that it takes, right? Personally, I need more information. I need more data, but yesterday it was looking a lot better than it is today. Although a lot of times when you get these big pullbacks like that, they freak a lot of people out. Oh man, you got knocked back big time to, support here. And then they just turn around and keep pumping to the upside. So check this out. And we're going to get back to XRP. I just wanted to show this updated price here. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2, 3. What if now we're getting 1, 2, and now 3? And what is that, my friends? That would then be a W, X, and now we're in the middle of Y. So Y could take out the top, maybe Y doesn't, I don't know. But if that's the case, then we're looking at the exact same thing that happened the last two times Bitcoin broke above an all-time high, which is what? A flat, a running flat. So you have A, B, you come down for C and you flag out here, right? You come up, take out the top, you flag out, right? Get everybody bullish. Oh, we're going to 100K. Then all of a sudden back down into this flag, then go, right? So what that would look like back in 2020, this is exactly what happened in 2020 before we broke above the all-time high. You can see right here, we came up and took out the top and then came down. Now check out this one. Same thing, right? So think about Bitcoin being somewhere right in here. So somewhere right there, and it still has to come all the way up, then all the way down, then continue higher, right? Something like this, right? Where we finish up that B wave, take out the top, then come down for C. But anyways, back to XRP versus Bitcoin, you can see this low here down to here, right? And when you look at the RSI, we do have that bullish divergence. So we have, we're trending higher with the RSI, trending lower with the price. So that is bullish divergence. What's also interesting that it's shaping up to be is potentially a falling wedge. Now, I like these patterns a lot too. So I think that's probably what could happen here is some type of falling wedge pattern. And usually those patterns like to get back to the top of the wedge itself, right? And then, from the Elliott perspective, it, they can label it a diagonal one. Let's see, one, I would say 2, 3, 4, 5, go, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of that's 5. And now we're getting ready to go. One thing is for sure, look at the daily candle. Look how beautiful that is. And what did I talk about the other day? The sequential, right? So if I turn on the sequential, we had an 8. We had an 8. So we were almost to a 9, but the 8 was a doji, right? You can see, the selling pressure was hot, and then it starts to dwindle down. You get these dojis, right? And when you get a doji breaking below support, right? All of these dojis breaking below this critical support, that's a good indicator that it's probably a reversal coming in soon, a fake out, right? Because you got to look at it through the lens of retail. They're looking at it like, okay, here's my resistance, here's my support, right? Or I'm sorry, here's both resistance, and here is my support. Now the support, you can see from this support here, and this one here, we held above it, but then we dumped below, and that looks like, okay, now I'm going to take a short because we broke support. But look how long it's been falling. It's been falling in a 3-wave shape. 1, 2, 3. When you get a 1, 2, 3, and then you get these dojis as you're breaking support, that's a sign that, hey, this is probably a fake out. Especially that you're on an 8, and especially because it looks like Wyckoff. And then all of a sudden, and then it happened on the day he predicted 5 trillion. So, yeah, I think it's interesting. We have a bullish engulfing candle. So this is an interesting candle. Now, I would really like to see this candle close above this high right here, above this candle. So this candle, this number 2 candle here, this number 3 candle. Now, if we can break above this number 5 candle right here, above this high and above this high, that would be remarkably interesting. But hey, it's probably a lot to ask right now, considering the fact that Bitcoin looks like it needs a bounce, right? I think Bitcoin, it fell pretty rapidly. It looks like a bounce is coming, so that should outpace XRP and bring this candle back. Heck, we still have 6 hours to go. We might have a big fat long wick and end on the downside. Like sometimes that happens. Like this candle right here. Actually, let me take everything off the screen and show you what I mean. So look at this candle right here. It looked very bullish. We're breaking out, but then bam, it came all the way back. So that could totally happen with this candle. Now, it doesn't seem so likely because we have a little bit of a base somewhat over here. But I'm thinking since we got this 8 and since these dojis came below the price, to me it looks like a Wyckoff reaction. So it's still very early. I'm preempting that idea, but to me, when you zoom out, this thing looks like it's drastically oversold. I mean, we came 1, 2, 3, 4 with an extended fifth wave all the way to the downside. Now we're starting to bottom out down in here, right? To me, you need at least a retracement, some type of retracement, right? Back to this price level up in here. So that's yet to be seen, but that's sort of what I'm thinking here. So, yeah, that'll be it for XRP versus Bitcoin. The EMA ribbon, we need to get above that. We have a lot of overhead resistance above us, but look how far away we are from the bull market support band. I mean, we haven't tested it as resistance in a long time. I mean, we're, 30% away from it. So, it's getting extremely, Bitcoin's becoming extremely overvalued against XRP. And, for others, that could be a good thing. But for me, I look at it as opportunity. So we'll see. Another thing I'm paying attention to is the lucid star. Can we flip the stars? We can see the stars are on the top. I want to flip them to the bottom. So if this candle, maybe the next candle, we can flip it, right? So I'm sure on the 4-hour we already did that. Yeah, you can see here. And look at that 9-2, by the way. We had this 9 buy come in, dipped a little bit lower. We came up, we flipped the stars, and now we're pumping. So it's looking nice at the moment. We are coming up on a 4-hour 9, so be careful with that. So we see an 8 here. So we're probably going to get a 9, probably get a pullback, maybe retest this area down in here. Then the hope is to continue pumping to the upside. Now, let's zoom in very closely and see what we see here. That looks pretty bullish to me. So zooming out here, we can see, we're going down, down, down. And we have this is where the Wyckoff spring occurred, right? But look at this. I like using these. It's not a parallel channel. It's actually a regression trend, right? So when I put the regression trend on here, you can see, let me make sure it's on regular. You can see a pretty beautiful breakout above this channel here, right? Or I should say regression trend. So yeah, it definitely has some legs at the moment on looking at the 30-minute chart. Now, the regression trend, you can expand it even further out. Let's go to the 4-hour. And you can see, yeah, look at that. We broke out. If I expand it even more, I mean, we're still inside it, right? So it's a little interesting. It's kind of an interesting tool, right? If I even extend it further, you could see we're attempting to break out. Now it is subjective on where you place it, but yeah, we're in a pretty nasty downtrend, right? But all downtrends eventually, well, not all of them, but most of them start to flatten out and recover. And to me, I like the 4-day chart, and I can see this candle is going to end today, and it's looking quite powerful. So going back to the small time frame real quick, let's go to the 20-minute chart. We're still pumping here. Look at that. So what could be happening here? Well, to me, this is what I can see so far. To me, it looks like we have, let's actually get a little closer. Let's go to the 5-minute just for fun. Well, right off the bat, I see a wave 1, right? I see an A, B, C correction. I see a 1, 2, another 1, 2, and now this is the third wave, potentially wave 4, and now we're getting wave 5. But to me, it could be an ABC first before going higher. The reason I say that is because this move coming up looks a bit corrective, right? So it actually could be, a running flat, a couple different things. It really doesn't matter because if I go, it could be a 1 2 1 2 or 1 2 3 4 5, a diagonal, right? A three-way pullback, right? A, B, C, or we come up, take the top out, we come down into a running. There's so many different possibilities because when you're in the middle of point A and point B, you're in the middle of those retracement areas. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that top there. But overall, I think when you zoom out, it'll be very interesting to see how the week ends. Let's actually look at the weekly candle. So I don't really like the weekly as much because it doesn't seem like we have enough of a base. It just seems like the base should be a little bigger. If it was maybe out to here, it would, have a little bit more strength. But, again, when you go back, I mean, look how strong this was. Right? You can see we came down pretty aggressively. We only had a couple candles for a base. We shot up, but then we pulled all the way back, and then we accelerated to the upside. So if I take a bars pattern just for a visual representation, maybe that's something kind of like something we get here. So something like that, if I take the bars pattern and put it somewhere in here, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And that would make sense because if you put the fib on here, right, look where it goes to, the fractal. It goes right to the 702 pretty much, pulls all the way back down to the low. You have a big, I'm not saying this is happening, but just as an example, you have a big 1, 2, and then you set up for that next wave to the upside. So looking for wave 1 to come in, right? A lot of times smart money doesn't even bother with wave 1. They wait for a wave 1, right? Then they wait for the pullback, then they get in. So, but there's other smart money that also just DCAs. For me, I'm depending what you're doing. If you're trading, you want to wait for that wave, depending on the time frame you're trading, wait for it to come to the upside. If it goes up in 5 and then you get a 3-wave pullback, then take the long, right? So, not financial advice, but that's usually how you want to go about doing it. So the downward resistance line, I mean, we still have a little ways to go here on the downward resistance line, but if I put it right about there, we're getting close. We're getting close to that it breaking above, right? So if I put look at the RSI, we have bullish divergence on the weekly RSI. That's a big deal, right? It's there. So you can see from here down to here, right? Same thing from here up to here. So RSI going up, price coming down, bullish divergence. So sometimes, it could create triple, which means it comes up, it makes another low, and the RSI comes up and makes a higher low, right? And then you get even more divergence. So the more it does that, the more divergence you get, the more snap back to reality. Usually how it goes. Another thing I'm looking at is XRP dominance. We're at 1.37%. Remember, yesterday we were at 1.31%. Brad Garlinghouse predicted a $5 trillion market cap, which means if we hit $5 trillion by the end of the year, and XRP has a 1.37% dominance, right? Then that is about that equates to 65. I think now it's higher, so probably $70 billion market cap for XRP, which puts it at about a dollar, between $1.20 and $1.30 area. But believe me, I think it's this thing is, I think by the end of the year we can get back up to 2.5%, maybe even 3%. So if you take 3% of 5 trillion, that puts XRP back slightly above the all-time high, or at about that all-time high. So 3% of 5 trillion. The answer is 150 billion. So there you go. $150 billion market cap for XRP. So that puts us, let's see, right about there. So yeah, that is definitely above the all-time high. Now, what does that equate to in price? I think about $4, between $3.50 and $4, maybe even. It really depends on the exchange. Let's see. Let's go here. So I mean, this one's even higher, right? So this one's at 350, and we saw it was a little higher. So yeah, about $4, I would say. But that's, contingent on all that. I think I think it's going to go way higher than that ultimately, but just based off what Brad Garlinghouse said. Now, let's say XRP dominance, right, reclaimed, let's see here. Let's do this. Now watch this. This is going to be interesting. A thought experiment here, and I think it's possible. So, depending if the bull run ends this year or next year, but it really doesn't matter because it's, time is subjective to everybody. So, getting back to the 618 of 19%. Now, there's so many more altcoins out there. It's harder for XRP to reclaim any dominance, just like it is harder for Bitcoin to reclaim dominance. The more crap coins that are out there, the more liquidity gets spread around, right? So back in the day, right back in 2017, wasn't that many coins. There's still a lot, but it wasn't that many. So XRP didn't have to compete for dominance, right? So given with the inflation and the inflation of not dollars, but inflation of assets, the inflation of crypto, because if you look back in the day, there was only a few cryptos. Now we got thousands of cryptos. Cryptos are inflating the amount, right? So XRP dominance has to fight crypto inflation for market share. But let's say the 618 at 19%. So we'll be conservative and we'll say 15%. Or you know what? We'll be even more conservative and we'll say 12%. So we'll say 12.5%. So there you go. So if XRP, if according to Brad Garlinghouse, if we had a $5 trillion market cap by the end of the year, or maybe sometime next year, right? And by the way, he said it was easily predicted, so he knows something, right? And I think that has to do with the lawsuit. But if that's the case, and let's say we do get up to that 10, 12%, you're looking at $625 billion. So I'll raise that up to right about there is fine. 621 billion. It's always good to be conservative. We'll put it right here and we'll go all the way up. So that's about 1,700%. Now that's a pretty big ask. That's a pretty big. I mean, now you're talking over a $500 billion. The highest it's ever been is 130 billion. But you got to understand, guys, XRP has never broken out of its all-time high. It is overdue for a bull run, right? It is due. It is long overdue for a big rise, because if you look at Dogecoin, it went all down in here, right? And then it came up, and then it just shot to the moon. Then it pulled back just like this, right? And now it's starting to come up like this. So that's Dogecoin. One coin has utility, one coin does not. One coin is positioning themselves for a mighty big purpose. The other coin is, not really, right? And you got to see one coin is way up here, right? The other is way down here. So I don't know, just giving you an example. So 621 billion, about 1700%. That puts XRP price approximately 1700% approximately. Yeah, that makes sense. That gives us that $11 to $12. So $10, $11, $12. Isn't that funny how that worked out like that? So now again, XRP does not have to be at 10% or 15% dominance in order to get to that $10 mark. I think it'll definitely be higher, but we'll just have to wait and see. But to me, there's no other asset that is in a prime position like XRP. I mean, just looking at the weekly chart here, we're still holding above the bull market support band. Even I think blockchain backer said that he thinks the low is in. Now I'm not sure. I want to say it is, and I probably is, because we do have a 3-wave move. And the thing is, we had the XRP versus Bitcoin, the spring, right? That spring kind of told me, hey, it's possible that the low is in, right? But if the low is in, and I'm going to make a prediction. So listen up. If the low is in, then my belief is that the price is going to do this. It's going to flag out, and then it'll go up. Or it'll flag out, and then it'll, get to the retracement level, and then we'll reevaluate. So if this low is in, then that's my prediction. We come up, we flag out a little bit. Maybe we go up a little higher and we flag out a little bit, right? I don't think we break this high. I think we come up here, we flag out a little bit, and then we continue higher. So that's kind of what I'm thinking if the low is in. If the low is not in, then what I'm thinking here is, and if I had to choose, if the low is in, I kind of want to say yes, because of that XRP versus Bitcoin chart. And, blockchain backer thinks as well. So, and I use his name a lot because he's XRP, right? He's one of the biggest XRP YouTubers, amazing individual, very likable guy. So I think, and he's got very good fractals and analysis as well. I think that if the low is not in, then I keep losing my brush. We could have a flat. So, A, B, we come up for C, and then we come back down. Now, it could come down into a running flat. It could come down to an expanding flat. If the low isn't in, right? And then we can get that triple, maybe hopefully that divergence in here, right? Or if I just put a line like this, something like that, where we bounce off one more time and you create this broadening type of pattern here, right? And you sweep the lows and continue higher. So that's sort of the two ideas that I have at the moment. I mean, there are others. I've already went through those. But for now, I say we flag out here, continue higher, or we push up a little higher and then come back down. There's always a chance that, the other day, the bearish idea kind of was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But look at the problem with 4. Number 4 came way up here and it went above, it was going into wave 2, above wave 2. So it just, the proportionality, I mean, look at this and then look at this. The proportionality isn't really good. So I'm kind of leaning towards not that anymore. So, yeah, actually what would be interesting is to come back down. And that flag, by the way, we're going to come up here and flag out, also gets us back down to the bull market support band, because we broke above the bull market support band, and we also have this cross, right, where we're about to get that cross. We want the green to cross above the red on the bull market support band. So if we get that cross, usually at some point we pull back, into the cross or after the cross, right? And then bounce off. The more times we test, the better off we are. So, and we've been testing it for a while. So we did break below it a little bit, but then we quickly recovered. So I expect something like that. So let's see. Just looking at silver here for a little bit. I mean, look at silver. We got this beautiful inverse head and shoulders. Took so long. I'm a proud silver stacker, and we got a beautiful breakout. Now, I haven't bought silver in a long time, but I accumulated a lot, probably all in here, not knowing when it was going to break out. We finally got that breakout, and then it just took so long, and that's just manipulation and rigging, right? So I don't know. I think silver is going to blow people's minds at some point. I think we're going to get because silver to me is the most suppressed asset. They use gold contracts, paper contracts, and they dump those paper contracts to suppress the actual physical metal. So, I'm thinking we're going to get up to 70, probably $70 to $80 would be a good target for silver in the long run. It's going to take time, but I think it'll get there. XLM looks pretty interesting as well. I mean, we created this, this base down in here a bit, creating a second base up here. And we have broken above the bull market support band, right? And we have looks like a three-way pullback. And now we're bouncing off it again. So we come up, it looks like we're flagging out here. Maybe we get one more low, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Continue higher. So it's looking pretty good. We have a nice double bottom here. Beautiful double bottom that is back testing this base here, right? So I don't know, guys. I'm bullish. Macro bullish. And because when you look at the macro, you can see this massive dump here from all the way here, all the way down here. Usually when that happens, you need some type of retracement. So, either something like this, right? We need something like that to retrace the move before either going to its death or going into reaccumulation before going much, much higher. I think we're going to go, I think the thing is with XLM, we've already had reaccumulation. So I'm thinking this thing is, primed to have a beautiful breakout. Now, my target for XLM, I'm going to get into that in another video, but that'll do it for this video. But yeah, that'll do it. I was actually checking out Theta Fuel It's looking actually pretty bullish. Looks like a nice expanding flat or running flat. A, we come up for B, we come down, hard stop, 1, 2. Maybe I'm hoping we get another 1, 2. That would look bullish, unless this is an impulse to the downside with a three-way pullback and we still have to come down A, B, C. But the way it did that, to me, looks like a running flat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. So, yep, I would watch for a move back, basically flagging out in here. Just flagging out in here and retesting this. Unless we get some support and make another wave, then flag out. But I expect, once you get that first pump, that after the low is in, if this is the low, you get that first pump and then usually you flag out for a bit. So, yeah, we'll see. And don't forget, 5 trillion by the end of the year. Let's see if it's true. But all right, guys, that'll do it for sure this time. I will catch you guys on the next video. If you can leave a like and a subscribe. That's always very appreciative. And drop a comment. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by leaving a tip through the YouTube tip jar. I got 4 QR codes on the screen that you can scan to support the channel. That's always appreciative. And if you want to comment below what coin you want me to take a look at, I'm going to do a rapid fire series this week. So let me know what coin or what chart you want me to take a look at, and I can do that for you. So I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.